Welcome back to Court is in Session. Nick, we have a jam-packed episode planned for the not the debut, but the
The first
return.
episode, yeah, the return, the
The
first episode of
return
the season.
season 2 of Court is in Session. Nick, you and I were busy in the world of NFL gambling, and now we're back into the NBA, and it's where my heart is. My heart's in the NBA.
Yeah, we're transitioning back over, and listen, I'm excited because the NBA is fun to talk about. I struggle with the gambling aspect because you never really know with the NBA, but it's good to get back talking about the boys on the hardwood. I'll tell you that.
For sure, for sure. And like I said, we have a jam-packed episode planned, so I guess let's get right into it. I think yesterday, late last night or early this morning, they finalized plans for an All-Star game. Um, I believe it's going to be in Indianapolis, but there's been some backlash, I guess, from the media. I'm not so sure what the players think of it,
Mm-hmm.
but I was curious to see what your thoughts were. It is in Indianapolis. It is scheduled for February 14th, so we're getting right up on it.
God,
Um,
so they approved the NBA All-Star game, and they say, hey, just so you guys know, you have
mm.
10 days to figure it out. I mean, come on.
So that's when it was. That's when it was originally planned, and I'll correct myself here.
Oh,
The
okay.
NBA and NBA Players Association agreed to hold the 2021 All-Star game in Atlanta on March 7th,
Okay.
and
All
that's
right. There you
per
go.
a report
Give
with
you a month.
CBS.
Giving you a
Right.
month.
So they give
Okay.
you a month, right? And yeah, like I said, I was curious to see what your thoughts like around this were before I guess before I give mine. So take the floor, take the hardwood.
I mean, I'm not surprised that they're doing an All-Star game. I don't know
Mm-hmm.
what took them so long to figure it out. I mean, at least having a game is one thing, but kind of if they put everything else on the back burner when it comes to the 3-point contest, the dunk contest, the Rising Stars Challenge, Skills Challenge, stuff like that. I mean, I get maybe skipping out on those just because of what's going on. They want to
Mm-hmm.
isolate it to one day. Um, Honestly, I'd rather see a 3-point contest and a dunk contest than just an NBA All-Star game going back and forth. I think those are one of the two most electric electric things that you could see. But I mean, I'm happy they're doing something for the players. I mean, the players are giving up a whole lot this year, especially with everything going on with the pandemic, being away from
Mm-hmm.
their families and stuff. So I'm happy they were able to reach this deal. Kind of hope they were able to reach it before. Like I said, I don't know why we weren't going to have this in the first place. I think the NBA is actually doing a pretty good job in general of kind of keeping everybody isolated, limiting. I think initially they were having trouble with, kind of keeping everybody safe, but now it seems like they're kind of
Mm-hmm.
turning a corner. Everyone's taking it a little bit more seriously. And really, like the play that we've seen from these teams and the players has really been nothing short of what I would have expected in general. It's good. I'm excited. Gives a nice little added pizzazz to the year.
I I agree and disagree with you. I understand why they want to have it, right? Like last year's was so successful
Mm-hmm.
with the rule change, and it was a fun game, and it wasn't just like lobs and dunks and like
Mm-hmm.
pull-ups from the logo. It was that, but like when the fourth quarter when like these guys wanted to win, like it picked back up, and I believe the game was won on to Anthony Davis free throws, which was
Well, one
a
of
little
two.
upsetting, but or one of two, right? Which was a little upsetting, but the game in the fourth quarter was really phenomenal if you recall from last year.
Yeah, I mean
Um,
that's one of the hardest you've seen players just in general,
mhm,
like professional sports players play in an All
mhm,
Star game.
right. And these guys are playing pickup with each other like in the summer anyway, so like
Mm-hmm.
they they know like they can turn it up and compete in that kind of setting in a pickup like an organized pickup setting, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, but the issue I have here is obviously like the coronavirus pandemic is still ongoing. Obviously, people are getting vaccinated, and it seems to be taking a turn here. But obviously, player safety is paramount here, and if they don't do this right, it could be a catastrophic failure. And we can look back on this and be like, why did they what's going on here? But
Mm-hmm.
I trust the NBA to kind of put um restrictions in place and have the appropriate amount of um
No, all the safety
I
protocols
guess
and
protocols. Yeah, there you go. It's
yeah.
appropriate amount of protocols there to keep the players safe. The other thing is, I'm sure these All Star guys have, these NBA players. They have All Star incentives too, like to
100%.
as a part of their contract. So, and that's the other thing I saw. Like, name the All Stars, but don't make them go to Atlanta to play meaningless game. Like it
Mhm.
doesn't. I don't think it makes much sense to play the game. But if the NBA is going to put it out there and make it a celebration to the players, then
Mhm.
who am I to say what they should and shouldn't do? You know what I
Well,
mean? If they
what you
can.
said with all a bunch of contract, what is it, contract incentives with making the All-Star
Hmm.
team, and I think it's something that the players can rest on too. Oh, I'm an All-Star point guard, I'm an All-Star center, and then
Hmm.
it also sparks conversations for snubs and stuff like that too.
Hmm.
I mean, an added, I guess, excitement level and competitiveness that I think you could be lacking. I think that they'd be missing out
Hmm.
on that if you don't have it. Because now these boys are out there playing for, oh shit, I really want to make the All-Star team this year. This would be sick,
Hmm.
Uh,
And it's a good reward for a guy like Jalen Brown, who's like been a solid player in this league for like 4 years now, right? And
Mhm.
has been a contributor to a very good Celtics team throughout his entire career, right? This year,
Balling.
he's he's going, and you're the Celtics fan here, but he's like, I don't know if he's on the same page as Jason Tatum as like a talent wise, perspective, but like right now, like he's playing like it, right? And that's what matters for all-star voting. It's how good you were in the first half of the year when they were voting for guys. So
Well, yeah,
for a
I
guy
mean,
like that to get rewarded with the
mhm,
all-star appearance and then actually go and like play in the game when you're
mhm,
like when you're playing defense in an all-star game against like I don't know, former teammate Kawhi or Kyrie, or
yeah,
you go across and you see Kawhi or you see LeBron. For a guy like Jalen Brown, who's kind of been like an upper middle class type of player in the league, like
mhm,
it's great for guys like that. And it's exposure for casual fans to see like, oh, who's Jalen Brown? What has he done? Oh,
yeah.
Jalen Brown, bang, and
Yeah,
that's
I
how you
mean,
generate fans.
you
So
talk about players like that, like Jalen Brown obviously benefiting, even players like Julius Randle for the Knicks, who's going to benefit. Who's
mm-hmm,
kind of been a no-name.
absolutely.
I mean, he came out of college and, his name was obviously highlighted. And he just
But he
kind of,
wasn't what you expected.
exactly. And it took him, what, 4 or 5 years to kind of figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
And now he's playing for the Knicks and he's balling. Might as well
Mm-hmm.
reward the guy and he's going to be proud of
Mm-hmm.
himself. Hell yeah, he's having an all-star season. Let me go and squat up against these guys because I might be shit again next year, but who knows? But I
Mm-hmm.
want to go and ball.
Yeah, and I'm glad you mentioned Julius Randle too, because I think he's deserving, and I guess we'll get into. I guess we could do that next week. We pick all-star teams next week. So
Yeah.
first segment next week. That's called planning ahead.
Yes, sir.
But like you're right, a player like Julius Randle, who was with the Lakers and then kind of got pushed away from there, and was with the Pelicans for a
Mhm.
year, and then back to the Knicks. It's or to the Knicks. It's good for a player like that to kind of make that rise and be rewarded with an all-star game. We saw it 2 years ago with D'Angelo Russell in Brooklyn. Same thing pretty
Mhm.
much. So I'm for it if they do it the right way. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? But the risk there is extremely high. But the NBA has done compared to other leagues really well in
Yeah,
this whole
and they're not even
pandemic.
doing it
So
in a bubble this year too, which is actually really, I mean, honest to
mhm,
God, I thought they were going to do it this year in a bubble, the whole NBA season because of the success they had last year. But I
mhm,
mean, the beginning of the year, they were struggling a little bit with with the breakouts and canceling games and postponing. But it
mhm,
seems like they're putting it together. And you're right. I mean, player safety is obviously at the forefront of everybody's minds, and you want to be safe. You want to make sure people are isolated, no one's getting sick, this and that. Obviously,
mhm.
no fans are going to be there and all that kind of stuff. But still, I mean, something good to reward these players who maybe are just balling out just because of the way the league is set this year and the way the games are being played. Might as well just reward you at least once.
Mhm. I agree. So moving on from the All-Star game to All-Star level talent, we have Bradley Beal, who came out. I think it was. I don't know if he said it. I don't. He didn't say it explicitly, but it was reported that he doesn't want to trade right now. He's happy in Washington, and he's kind of maintained this kind of posture, like in front of the camera, like I want to be a Washington Wizard, and I think like we can get everything together. But
Hmm.
I mean, they're struggling this year, and he's the leading scorer in the NBA. So like, it's a tale of two sides here. Take me through if you're Brad Beal, like what's going through your head here?
So it's tough because as an NBA fan in general, just kind of seeing him. I mean, he scored, I think, over 27 points in every game this year. Obviously, a dude who's just an absolute stud. And it's kind of crazy because he's putting up insane numbers, but it's not translating. And in the beginning of the year, you see Bradley Beal. There's pictures all over Twitter of him, frustrated on the bench, kind of fed up with what's going on. And I mean, the team's only won 5 games, so how are you not going to be frustrated? But as a fan, I want to see him off that basketball team. I mean, it's hard to not like the player and say, listen, he deserves more. He deserves to get, to make the playoffs and make a huge difference for a team to make a run championship. For the Wizards, I mean, obviously they're going to be happy to retain one of the best players. I mean, especially this year, and his best scoring players in the league. Do I think he should, like I said, do I think he should want out? If I was Bradley Beal, would I want out? Probably. I mean, the Wizards are going to go nowhere for the foreseeable future. I don't think Russell Westbrook is the answer at the point guard position. They don't really have any other solid pieces to build around. I mean, I don't think Rui Hachimura is really going to be that difference maker where that's going to put this team over the top. Bradley Beal is going to have to wait another 3 years or so before this team can maybe contend in the East. And even then, you're talking about a loaded Nets team, a loaded Bucks team, a loaded Celtics team, a loaded 76ers team they got to get through. Why not just
plus whatever other guy gets unhappy in that?
Exactly. So it's I mean, Bradley Beal's being loyal to the Wizards and, and it works out. And I get, you want to be that team guy. You want to be all for the team. I'm for Washington. I'm built here. I mean, and then you look at what the Wizards did to John Wall. They draft John Wall. They kind of gave him everything and then just kind of dud and let's get you out of here. So I don't know what's going on with the Wizards. Do I think Bradley Beal should want out? Yes. If he wants to stay, I mean, hey, it's his decision. He could sit on the bench and only win 10. I mean, he could score 40 points a game and then they're only going to win 10 games. So that's up to him.
Yeah, I mean, Washington is 5, like you said, 5 wins on the year. That's 14th in the East. I think they might be on a 2-game win streak right now. Their last game, they won 103-100 against Miami. And I think the game before that was the game that I tried to erase from my memory as a Brooklyn Nets fan.
No, that was they lost to the Blazers the week before. It was
okay. So there was a game in between.
Yeah.
Oh, you're right. There was a game in between. Okay, so listen. If I'm Washington, right? If I'm Tommy Shepard, their GM, I'm moving Brad Beal.
You could get so much value for him. Why not? And like I said before, you have nobody on that team to build around. I don't even think Russell Westbrook is a person to build around at this point.
No. Russell Westbrook is, the theory coming into this, making the trade for Russell Westbrook was that he's going to at least give you the 7th seed or the 8th seed or this year, the play-in game, right? But it just hasn't translated so far. They're 4th in points per game, but they're last in opponent points per game.
Wow,
they're the fastest. Yeah, no, it's not the Nets. Surprising, I know. Their defensive rating is 28th out of 30th, so there's room for the Nets in that little span there. But they're the fastest team in the league, but that's mostly because of Russell Westbrook, right? So their offense is going to be solid because they're the fastest team in the league and they have talent. But those obviously those guys aren't defending, so I don't know. I don't think your defense gets worse without. I guess it can't get worse without Brad Beal. So I think they have to pull the trigger and trade him.
It just seems like the Wizards are moving and they're running in place. They've been doing this dance for the past 8 years with Bradley Beal and John Wall, and nothing's happened. There's been nothing going on with them.
They were an Eastern Conference
and
Finals team. Yeah, they were an Eastern Conference Finals team that before John Wall tore his Achilles, but I don't know. I think Washington. I think a trade market for Brad Beal will net you similar to what the Nets gave for James Harden. I don't know if it would be as much, but even if you're getting that kind of return, if you're Washington and there's nowhere to go, and this is the year to tank at the very least with this draft class coming up with guys like Cade Cunningham and Jalen Suggs coming in, you gotta let go of your best player in this situation. Like,
pull the trig.
Bradley Beal's been in the league for 8 years. 8 years out of Florida.
And what's he averaging? 25
this year or a career?
21.
21. But rookie year 13, 17, 15, 17. So in 16, 17, 23, and then 22, 25, 30, 34. So he's a scorer and he has to be, right? But even if he gets traded and that scoring number goes down, if he goes to like, I don't even know, the Mavericks or something like that, I don't even know what they could give up, but like Luka and Brad Beal, it would probably, I don't even, but that's a team that's struggling that probably would make a panic move or something like that. But I don't even know if they have picks.
I don't know why they wouldn't. Who are they trading away picks for? Well, Kristaps maybe.
It was Kristaps to the Knicks, yeah. But like, it's tough to find a landing spot for him.
I mean,
just with the state of the league.
But like you said, I think this is the time to unload. I don't know how many years does he have left on his contract. I don't know.
I can find that for you if you want to continue your thought.
Yeah, so I think his contract length is also going to play a huge factor. You wait until he has 1 year left, you're not going to get as much because that's a rental. Now you're renting one of the best players in the NBA who's going to try to test free agency and get as much money as he can from whatever team he can. You trade him with 3 years left on the deal. Not only are you getting that money off your books, but you're going to get massive value.
So he is getting paid this year and next year. So for the rest of this year, all of next year, and then he has a player option for the 22-23 season.
Oh, pull the trigger.
Or a player option after next season. He's going to opt out on that. But I mean,
pull the trigger. You highlighted the Mavericks. I mean, granted, who knows what the Mavericks have, but that would be a pretty good fit. I mean, a team that needs a shooter like that, or even the Milwaukee Bucks, they need a shooter. These teams that need a shooter, you have a perfectly good one that's just trying to get out, who can clearly do it himself, who has played the second man role before when John Wall was playing. He can easily do that. He could be the leading scorer. If you could play with Russell Westbrook, you could play with anybody. Like, I mean, come on.
I like Denver as a fit for him. Looking at this now,
Denver has so many. You give up Michael Porter Jr. and a couple other pieces.
Right, and that's the big thing. Do you think Michael Porter Jr. at any point in his career is going to be better than Bradley Beal? No. And the answer is maybe, but I wouldn't bank on it with his injury history, with his general inconsistencies on the defensive side of the ball. I don't know if he's anything more than a high volume scorer.
No, I mean,
defense isn't going to get better, but it's. No. I mean.
That's you trade.
Denver's a good spot.
I think that's a great spot. I mean, Jokic can do it all, but Jamal Murray needs a little help shooting the basketball, and like you said, Michael Porter Jr.'s inconsistencies, and all he really has is his length and his size, and that's what he kind of got drafted for, was his length and his size and the potential, and it just kind of fizzled out. You could put Bradley Beal on mostly any team in the league, and you're going to make the team better.
Yeah. So yeah. I like Denver as a spot, and that's really I'm looking at this is the only fit I see. Maybe Miami if they want to move, I don't know, Goran Dragic or something like that, but I don't even know if they get it done. They like to pearl clutch with their guys. Maybe Toronto if they want to, bank on a Kawhi type of scenario, different types of players, but I mean, the options are there.
The options are there, and there's teams across the league that I think he would fit really well. I mean, imagine him in Oakland with Steph Curry and a healthy Klay Thompson, Klay Thompson, and you throw Brad Beal in there. I mean, granted, who knows what they could throw in the package? It's probably not named James Wiseman, but that's besides the point.
Yeah, it would probably be James Wiseman and like their picks for the rest of eternity. And I don't know Steve Kerr has been in front offices before when he was in Phoenix, and I'm sure he has a large say in what goes on in Golden State. But that's an interesting spot too.
I mean, but then you're taking on 3 fat contracts, and you got to worry about luxury tax and this and that money. But I'm not worried.
That's the other thing too. If a guy wants to, it's not your money to spend. So put them in every. Same token, these guys are billionaires. Pay a little bit of tax to make your team better. But aside from the point, since we're talking about teams, Nick, and I don't know if you heard the news, but a lot of people are really into investing these days. Right?
Okay.
Yeah,
yes.
Really into investing. If you watch the news, a lot of people are investing on GameStop because there's some stuff going on in there. I'm not a stock analyst or a financial advisor in any way, so I would not care to go into the logistics of it because I don't want to get it wrong.
Yeah.
So if that interests you, look it up. But we're going to do a stock check, little buy and sell on some NBA teams and some NBA players. And before we get started, this is tough to do because half the league is 500 or like 2 games with over
Yes.
under 500.
Yes.
Um, so I'll let you start. We'll do
All right.
buy first because it's
you want
always
me to
fun
buy
to buy
first?
stuff. Yeah, buy first. Let
All
me
right.
know. What are you buying, Nick?
I'm gonna buy. I'm gonna buy the Charlotte. I'm gonna buy Gordon Hayward on the Charlotte
Hmm.
Hornets. Um,
Okay.
what a fit that has been for that
Mm-hmm.
basketball team. Um, a veteran who knows how to play with multiple skill players around him. He learned really well when he was in Boston. He learned, obviously, when he was with Kyrie, Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, all the talent over there. Takes it over there to a young Charlotte Hornets team who's been surprised. I mean, I don't want to say surprising, but surprising this year. LaMelo Ball's a stud who's balling out
Mm-hmm.
and makes his team 10 times better. Miles Bridges is playing a great role, and that's kind of what's going on. Gordon Hayward's kind of spearheading the team. He's averaging 23 points a game and 50% shooting from the field, 43 from three. You really can't ask for much more. They gave big money, obviously, to sign him. To sign and trade, whatever. But still, he's been a great fit for that team. And I think he helps LaMelo Ball's kind of growth because Gordon Hayward's a quiet guy. He's not going to be out there flashy, doing whatever. So I think he's going to do well and keep LaMelo Ball pretty much, even keel. But the Charlotte Hornets in general, I mean, granted, they're making a pretty good run this year in the East. They're 8, but whatever, they're 10 and 12. You don't really expect them to do too much more, and it is the Eastern Conference. But still, I kind of buy the Hornets in the long run. I think next year the Hornets are going to be a team that are going to make a huge jump, especially if they make a couple moves. If you get a big man that can kind of make the difference on the floor with rebounding, posting up, trying to take on the opposing team's best big man when it comes to Embiid or Giannis or anybody like that. I think the Hornets are a couple players away from really making a huge jump, and I really buy. They made a great move bringing in Gordon Hayward. I thought they were kind of reaching getting Gordon Hayward. I'm not going to lie to you,
Mm-hmm.
but it seems to be working out. The team is playing really well, playing with fire. They're on the highlight reel almost every day with doing something crazy. The energy, the
Mm-hmm.
athleticism, the excitement that the team brings. I mean, I can't really attribute it all to Gordon Hayward, but Gordon Hayward has been a viable piece of that offense, and I think he helps that team grow into a role that I think they're going to be in the NFC. They'll be in the East for a while.
Oh, I just closed down half my stuff. Oh, there we go. Okay. Yeah. No, I think the Al Horford. Jesus.
Jeez, man, what are we talking about?
I'm digging into those. I wanted to get into the Celtics team because he wasn't really dealt a fair shake in Boston. Between the whole Kyrie stuff, there were other guys like Kyrie obviously wanted to be like the guy there, and Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown are emerging as the guys, and Gordon Hayward just never really found any consistent footing, especially after he got injured the first
game,
10 minutes into his new team debut, and hindsight's 2020, but like that really I feel like affected him, and now he's got the opportunity in Charlotte to be the guy. You know what I mean? Like he's absolutely
he's their number one
proving
option.
that he is worth that money, that he's even worth the money that he got in Boston in the first place after leaving Utah. Like this is a guy that's going to be ultra efficient from the floor. He's going to, I don't know if he's ever going to dazzle you, but you're going to look up at a stat line when you're playing the Hornets, and he's going to have 26 points. And you're like, how the hell that happened?
Yeah.
Yeah. He's posting pretty much like career highs in almost every stat. So,
but like you said,
I'm all aboard buying him because I think that is going to elevate a lot later.
And like you said, with the way his career kind of ended in Boston, he gets that injury and it takes him a year and a half to fight back. He starts playing again on a minutes restriction. He's playing for the second team pretty much all season. And then when he's back to full strength, he doesn't have a spot in the offense behind Jason Tatum, Kyrie, and even Jaylen Brown, and even Marcus Smart. He couldn't find any footing. I mean, yeah, he was still efficient. He's still putting up 18 a game, whatever he was doing. But now he has a chance to be the guy. He's fully healthy. He's the guy. He knows what he's doing. He's got a young team around him to help boost him up, and I love it. I love it. I love the Charlotte Hornets.
Yeah, the Charlotte Hornets. The Charlotte Hornets. If you want to, if it, I don't think this wasn't my buy or sell. I don't know if it's a second one of yours, but I like Charlotte. I think they have a lot of pieces there that are very interesting to project going forward. I mean,
Mhm.
Terry Rozier even is having a career year under James Borrego in Charlotte, and that's a guy that's always been like kind of high volume, shaky score. He's trying to be starting to put some things together, and it's really showing on the court
Mhm.
for the Charlotte team. Plus, they have one of the better courts in the NBA. Like
Their jerseys are also
like the gray
fresh
and the blue. Yeah, yeah. That's what you get when you have Michael Jordan as your
as a
as
team
your
owner.
owner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's your
Okay.
stock? Yeah.
So
What you got?
if I gotta buy. Hmm. It's a tough one. I'm gonna sell Miami. Um, I think Miami this year has been obviously they're 7 and 13th. They're 13th in the East, and they've really struggled to find their footing this season. And they've been ravished by health and safety protocols. I'm pretty sure Jimmy Butler missed 10 games or
Mhm.
something along those. He missed a significant amount of time, and Jimmy Butler is the lifeblood of that team, right? He makes them tick. They don't win without Jimmy Butler, and it shows. Um, but like moving forward, I know they made the finals last year, and I know this was like the Heat culture team. This was like they're going to be a force for everybody, but like I just don't see it. You know what I mean? Like
No, I
obviously
mean,
Bam Adebayo has grown into like a
mhm.
star in this league. I don't think he's in the top tier pyramid with like Jokic and Embiid, or as good defensively as a guy like Gobert, but he's like right there. If you ask me who I'd rather have, Gobert or Bam Adebayo, I'd tell you Bam Adebayo like 10
Yeah.
times out of 10.
Yeah.
But there's just some dudes on this team that like I don't know like what they are. Precious Achua at the beginning of the season was getting minutes, and he kind of looked like Montrezl Harrell 2.0, but I don't know. He's only getting on the court for 15 minutes a game, right? And Eric Spoelstra is one of those guys that he's going to play whoever gives him the best chance to win. So like if he's not getting more than 20 minutes, I don't know if he's worth the spot right now. They've missed Avery Bradley. They've missed a little bit of Goran Dragic. Tyler Hero's been in and out of the lineup. Myers Leonard just is out now, but like these guys on this lineup aren't that like to me that inspiring. That they're obviously talented and together they work
Mhm.
really well. But if they're
Mhm.
going to be in and out and in and out of the lineup, especially being in Florida with health and safety protocols, they're going to make the playoffs. But I don't think they go as far as they do last year. So I'm gonna sell their
Yeah.
stock now
I
before
mean,
it gets.
I gotta agree. I think last year with the way the playoffs and the finals was formatted, played into their strength. You're in a gym, you're hanging with your boys, and that's kind of all it really is. And there was a huge layover, and they didn't have to go anywhere. Um, I don't really think I didn't even think the Miami Heat were that good last year. I think they kind of just got lucky. Tyler Hero was a flamethrower. Duncan Robinson was a flamethrower. Um, Bam Adebayo was on another level. Jimmy Butler was on another level. You knew they had to come down at some point. Um,
Mhm.
I don't think they have the pieces yet to necessarily make that jump. Whether they need to make a move or not, I don't know. Or you wait to see if Tyler Hero can develop even further and kind of keep it rolling. Um, but what else do they really have? That's kind of really it. Kelly Olynyk is just kind of Kelly Olynyk, and now you're relying on two young guys with Tyler Hero and Duncan Robinson to pretty much carry your offense because Jimmy Butler can only do so much. I mean, he'll play make and do that for you, but you really need those players around him to make those open shots when you got the chance. And like I said, last year in the playoffs, they shocked the world. I mean, they didn't shock the world because it was weird because they were kind of nobody. And then before coming into the finals, everyone was predicting them to win the championship, and they got all the way
Mhm.
there, and they handled everybody with pretty much ease. Um, I don't think it carries over. I'm not really impressed with what I've seen from them this year. So 100% I got to agree, and I would sell them too.
All right.
All right. Oh,
Glad,
you want?
glad we're
Okay.
on the
So
same
so
page.
so while we're on the selling topic, I'm going to sell the number one seed in the Western Conference, the Utah Jazz.
Mm,
Um,
okay.
I am a huge Jazz hater. I do not
Mm,
think the Utah Jazz are good. I never thought they were good, and I still don't think they're good. They're
mm,
hot right now. I'll give it to them. They're hot. Donovan Mitchell's playing real well. Joe Ingles is shooting the lights out. Right now, Jordan Clarkson is the sixth man of the year. He's averaging 17 points off the bench. You have Mike Conley averaging 17. Um, Joe Ingles is putting up threes left and right, and I think they cool down at some point. And what else do they really have? I mean, Donovan Mitchell's been carrying this team pretty much his whole career, and all of a sudden now these pieces are clicking. I don't think it converts. I don't believe in Mike Conley. Jordan Clarkson is having a good year this year. Do I think it's going to sustain? Not really. You get to the finals, I think, or you get to the playoffs, I think they kind of get stomped around. Um, but they have the one seed now. And listen, they were on what, 11-game win streak, 9-game win streak, and they were kind of tearing up the NBA. And right
mm,
now, I think they have one of the best offensive ratings in the NBA, if I'm not mistaken. But I don't think that continues. They're not an offensive driven team. So they're just kind of getting lucky, or, they're getting hot at the right point. And, with
mm,
all these teams that get hot, they cool off. You don't get production. You don't get a real offensive production out of Rudy Gobert. We've seen him, just kind of flop offensively and not really do anything on the offensive side of the basketball. And that kind of puts that stops your team. So you figure Gobert doesn't really do much. Mike Conley starts slowing down because he's like 80 years old. Bogan Bogdanovic can only do so much. Joe Ingles can only shoot threes, and he also looks like he's 80 years old. What else do you have? You're going to bring Jordan Clarkson off the bench to try to give you a spark with him and Donovan Mitchell? I don't think it works out. I don't believe, I mean, they're playing well this year. Do I think it fizzles out 100%? When is it going to fizzle out? I don't know. They'll make the playoffs like they always do, and then they'll lose in the conference semis like they always do.
I agree. They were on my sell list too, but I figured
Yeah.
you were going for the Jazz, so I went for the Heat. Um, no, I mean you hit the nail on the head, right? And my thing with the Jazz is they lead the NBA in 3-point percentage right now. Um, they have the fifth offensive rating in the league, fifth defensive rating in the league, 10th in points per game, third in opponents' points per game. And that's all straight available on Basketball Reference, just like off the rip. And that's kind of like a very high level view of what they are. But
Mhm.
if you look at this team, like it's the same thing as last year, right? And they took Denver to 7 games. Well, Denver took them to 7 games, more like, but they had the position to beat Denver last year and they couldn't do it, right?
Mhm.
And this is the same team that they had last year. There's no additions
Nothing.
except for Derek Favors, who was on the team already like 2 years ago. So
Mhm.
I for me, they're hot as hell right now. Like they
They're
are clicking on all cylinders. And like Donovan Mitchell can take that next step. That's acceptable. I'll buy that. Him
Mhm.
taking that next step. But like we've seen Jordan Clarkson in this league for 6 years now, and this
And
is
what's he
what he
done?
does. He gets hot, he gets cold. So while I agree with you right now, if the season ended today, he's a sixth man of the year.
Mhm.
And the Jazz are the one seed, obviously. But like for me, I don't buy it either.
I mean,
We know what we're going to get from this team. And when it
exactly.
comes to the playoff time, Gobert is going to get picked on in isolation situations where he's going to be defending a guard on the perimeter, and they can't afford that.
No.
Um, this is the team they're stuck with. This is the team they got, and they're making the most of it right now, and they're hot as hell. So kudos to them, but I don't buy it
Yeah, I mean,
long term.
you talk about how hot they are. Royce O'Neal is shooting 46% from 3. He's their leading 3-point shooter. Royce O'Neal. I mean, come on. Come on. Mike Conley
Good
shooting
player,
40.
Royce O'Neal, but like
Roy,
probably not
Conley
sustainable as
shooting
your high.
40%. You have Donovan Mitchell shooting 40%, Bogan shooting 40%, and Joe Ingles shooting 44. I mean, even Jordan Clarkson shooting 38 is pretty high, but it's not going to last. It's not going to
Mm-hmm.
last. It's not sustainable. And like you said, they're running it back with the same exact team. Do you really expect a different result? They're just hot. I mean, I expected them to be a middle of the pack Western Conference team, like always, and then just kind
Mm-hmm.
of take a team as deep as far as they can, and then just fizzle out like they always do. And like you
They
said, I do.
occupy.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. You finish your thought. Finish your
I
thought.
mean, all I was gonna say is I do buy the Donovan Mitchell taking the next step, hype, and
Mm-hmm.
all the props to that guy for balling out and
Yeah.
being a no name out of the draft and coming out and being a baller. But
Mhm.
everybody else, I am not the team. The thing is, I'm not sold on the team. I'm sold on Donovan. I'm not sold on the team.
Yeah, they occupy the same space for me in like the Western Conference. So obviously up top, Lakers, Clippers, right? Lakers can
Mhm.
go up top, Clippers a little bit right behind them. I think it's closer than everybody makes it out to be, but so be it. And then right under them, Denver, Utah, Portland, Phoenix. If you want to throw Memphis in there, I don't know if I would yet, but Memphis could be in there. But that type of team, Houston with a James Harden is in that second tier. But like now they obviously don't have James Harden, but so be it. Which brings me to my first buy, and I believe this is going to be another team. Yep, it's going to be another team, and I'm glad I mentioned them. I'm buying the Houston Rockets.
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
absolutely, 100%.
Listen, as a Nets fan, I love James Harden. Right, even when he was on the
Okay, see,
Rockets. Like I can appreciate James Harden. But I mean, well, yeah, OKC
in
too. I
general,
mean, that's when
yeah.
everybody loved him when he was coming off the bench and scoring, 19, 20 points a game and like, being the difference maker on that team. And then when he went to Houston, it was like, I'm going to take ISO step backs and win this team games because he had to. And I liked watching that. A lot of people don't, but I liked watching it. And now he's with the Nets, but this isn't a Nets discussion. This is a Houston Rockets discussion. Um, I'm buying them not only because they have every single Nets pick now until the end of time, and that's probably a good investment, but even the players they have on the roster right now, right? You look at it, like I feel like everybody on this team has been counted out in some way. You know what I mean? Like DeMarcus Cousins, when he was in Sacramento, he was a center with a loud mouth and all like very talented. And then he tore his Achilles, and then he had to struggle to latch onto championship teams. And now here he is in Houston making contributions. PJ Tucker was out of the league. John Wall tore his Achilles and was a cast off. Oladipo has been on 5 teams in 7 years.
Mhm.
Um, Eric Gordon was on those Lob City Clippers teams. He was kind of booed out. Jayshawn Tate was in Australia last year. Christian Wood, undrafted, made a name for
Mm.
himself.
Well,
These
yeah,
dudes are all like, they've counted us out for years. Let's go and just play basketball. You know what I mean? Like it's us versus them is what it feels like.
mhm. I mean,
And I feel like they are right now, they are fourth in pace. They are eighth in opponents' points per game, and they have the second best defensive rating in the NBA. And I don't think that's by accident. And I think the offense is going to come around because they hired Steven Silas, right? And Steven Silas, prior to being the Houston Rockets head coach and well respected around the league, was the clock that made the Mavericks go last year. He was their offensive coordinator per se. We don't really
mhm.
have that in basketball necessarily, but he was managing that offense. And I think his loss to Dallas really, really hurt them. And obviously it's helping Houston. If you gave me this roster at the beginning of the year with the way they've played, and this Steven Silas, who's never had a coaching job before but's been around the league, I would tell you they're probably like a 30-win team, something like that. But
Yeah.
and they still very well may be. But right now they're playing well. But I'll buy the stock because even if they lose their next 60 some odd games in a row, they have all the Nets picks till the end of time.
which is
So
which is always good to have in the back pocket, especially if
mm-hmm.
if somewhere down the road, like next year, they want to make a move for a big time player at the deadline. Now you have all
Like
these
Brad
picks.
Beal.
You have all these picks to back it up. Um, I mean, you highlighted Christian Wood before, and I think Christian Wood is arguably the best signing of this offseason. And I remember when he was
Mm-hmm.
a free agent, I wanted the Celtics to sign him. He's a great big man, versatile, who can put it on, who could put the ball on the floor and take it all the way up the court. He's great in pick and
Mm-hmm.
roll. He's mobile. He has good. I can't say enough about him. He's averaging 22 points and 10 rebounds this year. I mean, come on, ridiculous. Depot, honestly, I wasn't sure what I was going to get out of Victor Oladipo this year. He's been an up and down player. You said how he's been counted out his whole career, which he has, and now he's found comfort there, which is good. John Wall finding comfort there. I think they need to make a couple moves? Yes, but for what we have now right in front of us for the Houston Rockets, it's just meshing well on the court. I mean, you see them playing a game, and it just looks like they're all meshing and they're having a good time out there. You know, with the whole James Harden drama in the beginning of the season, with him not wanting to play, I want off the team, I'm not going to show up to whatever. You know, all the disappointment, all the heat that team took from the media. With James Harden, and then getting him off that team was just a huge sigh of relief. They could do whatever they want. They're having a good time and they're playing pretty well. I mean, they're 10th in the West, but like even being 10 in the West isn't that bad with what you've just lost and where you were, you know, a year or two ago with Chris Paul and Trevor Ariza and James Harden and making the playoffs and you know, kind of balling out, having Clint Capella. I mean, that team was stacked. They had a great team. And, you know, granted, they're doing whatever now and the team isn't the same. But like you said, if you show me this team at the beginning of the year, I'm probably going to say, I don't know where you're going to get out of this. I give Steve Silas a whole bunch of credit. I give, I mean, I'm going to have to give John Wall credit because I'm assuming he's the leader on that basketball team, is putting all this stuff together. I can't say enough about the Houston Rockets. I'm very happy and I'm very glad that they're taking this jump. The only complaint I have about them is I do not like their City Edition H-Town jerseys. I don't like seeing the Houston Rockets.
The blue ones?
I do not like seeing the Houston Rockets
I don't like
wearing
it either.
baby blue.
I don't like
You
it
need to
either.
give them something that's not baby blue because it's just not a Houston Rockets color. That's my only complaint. Use those picks. I think they should trade for another big star, whether it's a big man or a shooter that's going to put you, you know, into contention. They have the picks. They have the salary cap, I believe, probably. Well, then they have to re-sign Victor Oladipo at the end of this year. That's another problem. But still, they're in a good position. They're in a great position. I mean, you just gave up arguably the best player in the NBA, and you put yourself in just as good of a position as you were before. They've won more games without him than they won with him. So what are you going to do?
That team's been impressive to me, like really. And Christian Wood, I liked watching him last year in Detroit, but I chalked it up to bad team. Somebody needs to take the shots. You know what I mean? And this guy's a free agent, and like, I don't know, he's probably well liked in the locker room. So I'd imagine Dwayne Casey was just like, just go, show me what you got. You know what I mean? And he did, and he bet on himself, and he didn't get a max contract, but he got, you know, he got pretty fair money for a center in this league, and I'd put him in upper echelon after watching him this year and seeing what he's been able to do in addition to what he did last year. Small sample size, but I'll put him up there. I like Christian Wood.
I love Christian Wood, and God, I mean, he would be a great fit on a lot of different teams, especially what he's doing this year. But I think he's going to take that team. He's going to be that piece. I mean, they're not going to build around him, but now you don't have to worry about getting another big man. You know, you just kind of worry about putting the pieces around the big man because you don't have to worry about that. Because I don't think, like, the Celtics pull this shit where they don't have a big center, big power forward to grab the rebounds or take the big guy, and that's their downfall. Now at least the Rockets have this big guy to grab the rebounds while the small shooters run up the floor. And, you know, he can even put the ball on the floor and make a play, be the floor general while all these guys are getting open on fast breaks. So
sweet.
Houston.
Do you have one more, or did we cover it?
I mean, I did. I got my buy and my sell.
You got your buy and sell. I got my buy and sell. So to summarize here, I bought the Rockets and sold the Heat. Nick, you bought
I bought Gordon Hayward and the Charlotte Hornets.
You bought Gordon Hayward. There you go.
And then
you sold the Jazz.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Houston Jazz.
I'm gonna sell the Utah Jazz every day for the rest of my life. I am never gonna buy the Utah Jazz. If you ever catch me buying the Utah Jazz, you know there's something going on.
Call for help.
Yeah, call for help. Help! I've fallen and I can't get up. It's a joke, man. There's no way. I can't. I sold the Jazz last year in the playoffs, and I'm gonna sell them again. I'm done. I can't do it.
I sold the Nuggets last year when we did that, and it kind of bit me. But
well, listen.
Yeah, I can't predict 2 straight 3-1 comebacks, man. I can't. So.
No. And you mentioned the Nuggets, and every time we talk about the Nuggets, I have to bring this up. Nikola Jokic is the best center in the league. Okay. Anybody who disagrees and thinks Embiid is better, you're just wrong. You're just wrong. You're not going to Embiid. I don't get 100% effort out of Embiid. You know, the whole game. He can only play half of the game, and he'll still be gassed. You can leave Jokic in there all game. You're going to see Jokic making these dimes. He's going to be grabbing every board. He's going to be making plays offensively and defensively. I think that the 76ers without Embiid are better than the Denver Nuggets without Jokic. I think Jokic is the better player. I think Jokic is the best center in the league. He could do it all, shoot. I mean, I've seen him make wild shots. You've seen him make these football touchdown passes. You've seen him grab these boards and take people on defensively. He's not lazy. He's a likable guy. He doesn't talk crap. He's a good. All right, I'm not going to rant because then I'm going to go and not going to stop.
No, you're good. You're good. Just what since you brought it up, Basketball Reference has a 2021 NBA MVP award tracker. Right now, it's Jokic, number 1, probability about 43%. Number 2 is Embiid at 21%, followed by Kawhi, LeBron James, Giannis, Kevin Durant, AD, Paul George, Dame Lillard, and Rudy Gobert. Rudy Gobert.
You know, I'm not going to lie. At the beginning of the season, actually the first week or so, I was kind of sold on Steph Curry being an MVP again this year. He went on like a 3-game stretch where he was just dropping like 30 plus, just dropping bombs from like 65 feet out, just unreal. And the Warriors were winning basketball games. We're like, how are these Warriors winning basketball games? And I think they were on a roll, and then Wiseman got hurt, and now Kevon Looney's going to be out for an extended amount of time. And now it's like, well, shit, what's Steph Curry going to do with what he's dealt with now? Can he deal with it? But he was making a serious case for MVP. Still the best shooter in the league, the best point guard in the league. But I'm scared for next year. I mean, this guy doesn't seem to get any worse. He just seems to get better. Like, I don't know how. I don't know how. And I think he should be in the MVP conversation just because he is the most valuable player to that team. I mean, you take him off that team is just so bad. I mean, they just gave the Celtics a run for their money 2 days ago. Like, because he's hitting these shots that he's just pulling up from like 80 feet out, just taking a little up the half court and just pulling up and knocking it down, man.
And he's making them, and he's making them. For him to not be on this MVP ladder is I think it's egregious, because I agree with you. I mean, he's the only player. I tend to vote for MVP. Or I obviously don't vote, but when I pick a player for MVP, when I gamble on it, I try to do like, if you took this guy off this team, what are they? You know what I mean? And to that point, LeBron James would win the MVP like every single year for the most part. Yeah. But this year, like, Steph Curry is going to, if they want to be a player, even if they're like a top playoff seed, like 1 through 4, home court advantage. I don't know what they're going to do this year, but if a home court advantage team, like, it's because of him. It's not because of Kelly Oubre or Andrew Wiggins or James Wiseman. It's because of him and Draymond, right? With hands, the occasional help from those guys, right? Obviously, they're not invaluable, but Steph Curry is the lifeblood of this team. I have a futures bet on Kevin Durant to win MVP. Very unbiased bet placed there, but
I mean, even though you're a Nets fan, you see the numbers, and I see it all over Twitter with them comparing his MVP year to what he's doing this year, and it's outstanding. I mean, that's comeback player of the year right there. He's argued
easily.
It's easy. I mean, his numbers are crazy. You take him off that team, what are the Nets? I mean, the Nets can barely do it without him right now, or when he was out for back-to-back games, whatever it was. I mean, what'd you get it at? Plus what? 300?
I was at, hold on, I gotta log into my FanDuel here. But yeah, to your point, he's obviously one of the better players in the league. And the big question this year was, what is he going to do, coming off an Achilles injury like this? And it's tough for everybody to project what you are like coming off an injury like that. It's plus 2,000.
Oh, see, that's good money.
I put like $20 on it, so I thought it was good value. But yeah, when you project a guy to come back from an Achilles injury, especially one that relies a lot on athleticism, like Kevin Durant, you wouldn't even know he had an Achilles injury if they didn't mention it every broadcast that he's on. You know what I mean? Like, it's phenomenal for him. And I think the Nets did the right thing by going out and getting James Harden to kind of supplement that, because now you can rest any combination of those guys and still have a top X player on the team. if you sit KD, it's Kyrie and James Harden. If you sit James Harden, who doesn't sit, by the way, doesn't miss games,
Nope.
it's Kyrie and KD. But like, I don't know. I'm excited to watch the Nets not only as a fan, but as like a basketball like
As a
fan.
team, listen,
Yeah.
you're right. As a fan of basketball, it's always like, I mean, as much as people hated the Warriors when they had KD, I mean, that was a fun team to watch. I mean, they're knocking down shots left and right. They do whatever they want on the court, transition, whatever the hell they want. They're shooting the lights out. How is that not fun to watch?
Yeah. And their games are always fun because they don't play defense, right? And defense is an effort. Defense is like half effort, half predictability, and like they just don't put the effort there, which is fine because they're superstars in this league and they can give up a 2 on one end and turn around and pull up from 35 out and make a 3 on the other end. It doesn't make a difference. But they're excited to watch. So the last thing we have planned here, Nick, is last year we did trivia. This year we're doing the nickname game. Patent pending. And name pending. The nickname game. So basically what this is I'm a big fan of Basketball Reference, right? I think it's the conglomerate of like everything that you 30,000 feet need to know about basketball. And even if you want to dive in deeper, they have it really available for you. NBA.com/stats is good, really good for that too. But what I really like about Basketball Reference is I can go to a guy like LeBron James, his page, right? And they'll list nicknames for him. So LeBron James's nicknames, look, King James, LBJ, Chosen One, Bron, Little Emperor, Akron Hammer, L Train. So I thought it was fun.
Shit.
I've never heard him be called the Little Emperor, right?
L Train.
That's pretty cool. But I thought it would be fun, Nick, if this year we found a random player, new player, you and I, every single recording, and do a 2 truths and a lie version with their nicknames. So, for example, with LeBron James, right? If I was picking LeBron James, 2 truth and a lie type nickname style, it'd be King James, the prodigal son of Akron, and Chosen One. Which is the fake nickname?
The prodigal son of Akron.
Easy enough.
Bing, bing, bing.
So, with that, Nick, I'll let you start first so I can get to my other player page.
All right. Are you ready?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Mr. Mustachio.
Oh, who's the player? Oh,
I thought you're guessing the player.
No.
Okay.
I'm guessing the nickname.
Okay, so the player is Steven Adams.
Okay,
we got Mr. Mustachio. Big Kiwi.
Okay.
And Aquaman.
Mr. Mustachio, the Big Kiwi, and Aquaman. Ooh. Well, I know. Okay, so he looks like Aquaman. I don't know the actor's name, but he looks like him.
Yes, he does.
So I'll give him that.
Okay.
And he's from New Zealand, so I can buy the Big Kiwi. So but I know that mustache.
His mustache game is ridiculous.
It was ridiculous when he was young in this league and he was doing like the handshake celebration with Nick Collison. Yeah. I know he used to just have a mustache. The Big Kiwi. That's tough.
Dude, shouts to you.
I'm going the Big Kiwi. The Big Kiwi is the fake nickname.
The Big Kiwi is not the fake nickname. Mr. Mustachio is the fake nickname.
Oh, that's tough.
Yeah,
that's
good
tough.
for you
that's
for
tough.
putting New Zealand and Kiwi together. I would have never put that
together.
I
got it. I'm a professional. I listen.
I've never heard Steven Adams be called the Big Kiwi.
I've never either, but like I could put 2 and 2 together here. All right. So, all right, Nick. Oh, that guy's only got 1 nickname. That's lame. Get more nicknames, Jay Crowder.
Clam chowder.
Yeah. Damn, I really wanted to use Jay Crowder because I thought he'd have some nicknames. He's been in the league for a little bit. He's all right. Oh, this guy's only got 1 nickname too. I'm struggling right here. I was about to pick D'Lo, but D'Lo's only got 1 nickname too.
All right, you want me to give you? Let me give you one for Kelly Oubre.
Okay.
All right, Tsunami Poppy. GQ or shot
GQ or shot? What was
or
the first one?
Tsunami Poppy?
Bro, I see so much Kelly Oubre stuff on Twitter that I would not be surprised if Tsunami Poppy was his actual name. Um, hmm. Mm-mm-mm-mm. GQ. GQ.
GQ is the lie.
GQ is the lie. Okay.
Is the lie.
God, I'm struggling to find players with nicknames here. I wanted to get real deep, but okay. All right. So my player, De'Aaron Fox.
Oh, Jesus. Swiper.
Yeah, so he's got Swiper, the General, or Foxy.
Okay, so I know Swiper. Foxy makes sense because of Fox, and General makes sense because he's the point guard. I'm going to go the General's a lie because I could see the announcer calling him Foxy. Oh, here goes Foxy down the court.
No Foxy is the lie. Yeah, Swiper, the General, and Quick were his 3 nicknames on
Quick.
Yeah, Quick. You know, we have Emmanuel Quickly in the league now, so like I think we might have to. I think we might have to shift that one.
Shove it off to somebody else.
Yeah, I will be more prepared and try to find a player with a nickname with more than one nickname on their page for next time. But
what a stupid nickname.
That's a tough one. That's a tough one.
It's stupid. This is stupid. Stupid.
Oh, okay. I got another one for you since you gave me 2. Same right. Sacramento Kings team, right? I got Buddy Hield.
Okay. All right. Buddy the Elf.
I got to find a new nickname now because that's what I was going to do.
I got to keep my mouth shut. Okay. I got to keep my mouth shut.
We got Buddy Love, Buddy Buckets, or Big Buddy.
What? Big Buddy. What was the first one?
Buddy Love. Buddy Love, Buddy Buckets, Big Buddy. I'll give you Buddy Fresh, too. Make it a little harder for you.
All right, I'm going to say Buddy Love is the fake name.
No, Buddy Love, real name. Big Buddy was the fake one.
What is?
Buddy Love is a real one. Big Buddy was the fake one.
Oh
my. I thought Big Buddy was a pretty good lie because I can imagine someone like a De'Aaron Fox being in a post-game interview like, yeah, Big Buddy out here really helped us out here. You know what I mean? I thought it was a pretty good nickname.
What's his real name?
Shavano Rainier Healed.
Huh. All right, Buddy is a lot easier to say than
Buddy is a lot easier. All right, Nick, I think that's all the time we got. So I'll let you go back to your daily life. I'd like to thank everybody for listening. Nick, plug your Twitter.
Well, Twitter at Tobias_Nick. You can go follow my Instagram, Nick_Tobias. If you really feel like it, if you use Action Network, you can go on my Action Network. I think it's Nick_Tobias or Tobias and something like that. You can see what I'm placing bets with every day, even if I don't post anything. Follow us, Caps on Sports, Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat. Well, not Snapchat, TikTok, Facebook, and then whatever Mano's got.
Just my Twitter, man. Burner of Anthony.
Bang.
It's been fun, Nick. I'm looking forward to talking the NBA with you for the rest of the season. Hopefully there's some more news, some good stuff to talk about. But
yes, sir.
Until next time.
The association. Peace. Yes, sir.